March meeting of the Colonial School Board of Education to order. Our pledge will be led by Mr. Leo McGee this evening. Leo,
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
thank you. First order of business we have is any additions or corrections to the board agenda?
I have none.
Any member of the board have any additions or corrections? Hearing none, do I hear a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Do I hear a second? Second. Been moved by Mr. Schiller, second by Mr. McGee to approve the agenda as presented. Questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The agenda is approved. Next order of business we have is the consent agenda. The consent agenda consists of various items for good choice applications, meeting minutes from previous meetings, personnel moves, other business moves, including the budget report for the last month. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Handy, second by Mr. Crossan to approve the consent agenda as presented. Questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Consent agenda is approved. Next order of business we have is administrative contracts. Dr. Menzer.
As we discussed in executive session, I'm coming up on my end of my first year as superintendent. And at this time last year, we agreed we were going to revisit my contract for further review and discussion. So as we discussed in exec, the motion is on the table, or the recommendation is on the table.
Do I hear a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve the superintendent's contract.
Been moved by Mr. Schiller, seconded by Mr. McGee to approve the superintendent's contract as discussed in executive session. Questions? Hearing none, as I call your name, please signify by saying yea or nay. Ms. Kennedy?
Yay.
Mr. McGee?
Yay.
Mr. Pichu?
Yay.
Mr. Crossan?
Yay.
Mr. Handy?
Yay.
Mr. Schiller?
Yay.
Myself, yay. Motion is carried. Next order of business we have is updates and action items. Newcastle County proposed tax penalty amnesty ordinance.
As you recall, maybe a month ago, we brought up that there was potentially going to be a tax amnesty penalty proposal brought forward from the Newcastle County office. Is it executive council? We've reviewed the proposal that's presented to the board in your packet, and we'd like to present that for your consideration and action upon it tonight.
Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion, Mr. President, that we approve the Newcastle County proposed tax penalty amnesty ordinance.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Been moved by Mr. McGee, second by Ms. Kennedy to approve the consideration and action upon the proposed Newcastle County tax amnesty ordinance. Questions? Could we have a little bit more of a summary of what is involved in that for the public,
Sure.
please?
Ms. Falcon, would you want a high-level overview of what that proposal? It went from a very broad penalty amnesty to a very, very narrow amnesty that I think Emily can explain.
So as the ordinance is written, it offers residential property owners only the opportunity to have the penalties on their delinquent tax bill waived if they make their account current. I believe there's a deadline. I think it's June of 21, so it's a relatively short time frame for them to come current. I believe the county is actually trying to take advantage of some of the stimulus payments that are expected to go out from the federal government, that folks will use those payments to make their tax bills current, so they are proposing to waive the penalties. There was a similar program done in 2015, and during that time frame, there was about $30,000 in back taxes paid, and the penalties waived was just under $8,700.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, as I call your name, please signify by saying yea or nay. Ms. Kennedy?
Yay.
Mr. McGee?
Yay.
Mr. Peachum?
Yay.
Mr. Carlson?
Yay.
Mr. Handy?
Yay.
Mr. Schiller?
Yay.
Myself, yay. Motion is carried.
The second update and action item on the agenda is the board policy manual. Last month, you recall, we presented a social media policy for a first read. We had a pretty lengthy conversation for our purposes, and that early on in the process, there was a lot of questions asked. I believe we did answer all those questions. We didn't have to come back with any follow-ups. So we're presenting this policy again for second read and approval.
Do I hear a motion from the floor?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Been approved, I'm sorry, it's been moved by Mr. Handy to approve the policy for social media, seconded by Mr. Carlson. Questions? Hearing none. As I call your name, please signify by saying yea or nay. Ms. Kennedy?
Yay.
Mr. McGee?
Yay.
Mr. Pichu?
Yay.
Mr. Carlson?
Yay.
Mr. Handy?
Yay.
Mr. Schiller?
Yay.
Myself, yay. Motion is carried.
Thank you. The last part of this, of updates and action items is, I just wanted to share with the board a few updates, as I do every month. I have to continue to stress the power of we and who we are. We're looking to bring back the Who We Are monthly board report, where we had recognition for a staff member or students. It's evolving a little bit because of COVID. Obviously, we won't be able to have people here. It'll be kind of having them on the screen, but Who We Are has been a strategic campaign led by our strategic marketing officer, Gabe Phillips, and public information officer, Lauren Wilson. And it's just one of the ways that our district tells our story. You see it if you follow social media or Facebook, the Who We Are profiles circulate regularly on the website or in our school's Facebook pages. It features administrators, teachers, parents, bus drivers, parents, community members. Everyone is included in this because Colonial Nation is more than just the few folks sitting in this room and in the buildings. It's the community. It's making us who we are. I want to encourage you to continue to read those and be proud of those folks who get recognized. And if you have anybody who you feel you see or hear should be considered, please email Gabe or Lauren. I can tell you right now, we're going to have a Who We Are coming up that's significant of note. Our lead nurse, Heidi Hildick, was recognized as a special needs school nurse, special interest group, nurse of the year nationally. Pretty big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, a huge honor. I guess right now she'd be at an award ceremony somewhere. If it was like the regular time, there'd be a conference and she'd be getting recognized. We just found this out last week. She's not only been a staple in the Leech community for years, but during the COVID crisis or the pandemic, she has stepped up to be our lead nurse and has been an integral part of our response to development of safety protocols, contact tracing, She is in constant contact with the Department of Public Health, DOE, and other folks who are in the healthcare space for schools. So we couldn't be prouder of her and her dedication and commitment to the Colonial community. So in a perfect world, we'd have the slide, who we are, ready to go. It'd be up on the screen. We'd zoom her in and we would just get to say a few words to her. That's the kind of recognition we want to bring forward here. Start again, getting back into that. So next month we may have a little who we are section in there, where we're featuring someone who really has stepped up above and beyond and earned national recognition. So I just wanted to put that back on your radars. You know, Ted brought up a point about, you know, before we came into the meeting, you know, he was talking to me about, well, where are we with getting our kids back on track? What are we going to be doing to help our families and students who are struggling or maybe who are not getting what they need to get right now because of the pandemic? The district, you should know that we are beginning to develop our summer programs. This year, we surveyed our elementary parents and we got 400 responses about asking them, what kind of summer program would you like us to offer for your child? We have now 3 options that we're going to offer. We are going to have a pure virtual program. We're going to have an in-person program. And then we're also going to have virtual tutoring. So there's going to be 3 different types of programs to support students in different ways, whether academic-based, kind of camp theme-based, or just straight up tutoring around certain skills and strategies that they need to recover. We will be having middle schools. Each middle school will have a Tyler's Camp, which is a program that we've been running for several years now with Summer CoLab, where it is a camp-like atmosphere with learning opportunities embedded throughout the experience during the day. That'll be at each of our 3 middle schools, and there will be one of those at Eisenberg and Castle Hills. And our high school will continue to offer, we know at a bare minimum, credit recovery. I was interviewed today by Channel 6 asking this question about our summer offerings. And we've always believed that summer was a time to just continue to stay in touch with our students and families, because we don't want to have that summer melt where they're losing ground. This year, the summer melt we're doubling down on it. So we're offering more opportunities for more families, which is going to present a series of challenges, because we're still going to be complying with DPH guidelines around social distancing in classrooms and transportation. Then also we have to staff it. You need teachers. And then you also need families to sign up. Let's face it, there's a lot of pressure that's been on both those groups all year long, and some may be less inclined to take advantage of those opportunities. So we're starting the planning now so we can develop those quality programs for students. I'll take any questions about summer while I'm on it before I jump into the next topic.
Where do we stand in regards to being able to do the summer classes, especially in person, in regards to vaccines for the teachers and other school staff? And what have we been hearing, or if we have been hearing anything on vaccines for students? I heard a tidbit this morning that potentially in a neighboring state that high school students may be eligible for vaccines in the near future.
So 2 things. Staff vaccinations, as you know, the governor has mandated or explicitly stated, educators and those who work in schools are now a priority. Our staff our 1B stage 2 staff continue to receive invites for vaccines, started coming yesterday. They've been going all last week. They're now getting close to inviting stage 3, 1B folks who are like myself, who can work remotely and don't interact with students and staff on a regular basis in the schools. So the goal for them, both those groups, is to, by the end of March, to have had them get their first dose of vaccine and be committed to their second dose down the road. The students, in talking with Dr. Cooper, it's my understanding that any vaccine that's going to come forward in the near future for students would be limited to the ages of 12 and up. And its potential for maybe the end of the summer is what last I heard. And that for 12 and under, we're talking possibly 22, a long way down, further down the road. That's what I've heard anecdotally. I have not seen anything official around that. Is that matching with what you heard?
Yeah, that's what I had heard earlier today, that there was going to be some discussion about high school students be available to have their 40th summer beginning of school year.
That's a possibility, and that factors into our conversations around what does the school year look like next year in the state or in Colonial specifically, because that's our primary responsibility. We've begun those preliminary conversations. Right now, that we've been told through the summer at a minimum, the rules and the regulations that are in place will remain in place. So that's all we can operate on right now. We're waiting as more vaccines get out and we get more information from the CDC and the medical experts about what the vaccine means and what the variant brings potentially. Those are the conversations that we're kind of listening to and waiting for guidance on.
Other questions for Dr. Menzer on that topic?
How long is the summer school program?
Summer school program runs 3 weeks, I believe. We have different programs. So summer 5, we have extended year programming through our special programs that runs 6. It straddles into the beginning. The calendar hasn't been out, but it runs basically from the 2nd to 3rd week in June through sometimes to the 1st week of August or the last week of July. Because we need time to prep.
Yeah.
And then we need time to break down and get ready for the start of the school year. So that's generally the window. I don't think they've come together yet to put all the dates together.
Yeah.
How about graduation?
I was just thinking that was.
We're working through that right now. Obviously, William Penn is the largest, got a large graduating class of near 500. Current capacity limits for indoor events is 150. That's a seating and dining event. Freestanding event, I believe, is 250. Our high school team is actually Lisa Brewington and Mr. White are sending out a letter to their families now, giving them a preview of some of the things that they're going to be doing and asking them just for a little bit more patience as we try to navigate a location for 500 people to be in one spot, and or even 150 people in one spot if we were to divide it up, or 250 in one spot and divide it up and provide a venue where people could actually comfortably enjoy 1, 2, 3, however many ceremonies. We really don't. They're working through it. I would anticipate in the next month we'll have a better idea.
Is part of those options looking to have it outside?
Yes. All options are on the table, and some options are better than others.
Correct.
All options are on the table. They are literally throwing a lot of options out there, and they're trying to. There's a novel idea that we're going to actually ask the students what they think, what they would like to have, and then the families, and then try to build, just like we've done everything else, try to meet them where we can, given the parameters that we have and our access to facilities, and logistically, can it be done? Unfortunately, in this case, where we often brag that our size is our asset, our size definitely makes it difficult for us to. This isn't like a nimble little organization that like you can't just like, we'll go over here and do this. 500 bodies. Prom continues to be a discussion point. It's not looking great where you can get people of that many people in one location. That's the tension is going to be. Other schools that are smaller will probably have proms, and that's going to create the pressure. Like, well, why don't you have a prom? Well,
they have to look at going back to have the junior prom and the senior prom.
Oh, we couldn't even do that because we'd have 450 juniors. Like you can't get like. There's a lot of moving parts when you try to put together these events and then maintain the guidelines that are in front of us.
Well, let's hope that the vaccines take effect.
I'm not speaking for the rest of the board, but I wouldn't mind doing a couple of graduations. It's a big moment for these kids.
A through K and L through.
I have to tell you,
Love to see it outside.
Mr. McGee, the graduation event that was run last year by William Penn it was not the same, but it got the families loved it. From what I was told, that it was more intimate. They got to do it was well received. So an element of that kind of celebration, I'm sure, is on the table for discussion, but also to your point, the notion of a more formal ceremony, kind of the way we've done things before, is also, all options are on the table and they're looking at everything.
What was our last cost we spent for the university?
It was under 10, but over 8. It was somewhere between 8 and 10. They can.
No, I
Price
feel like it was 19,000, but.
What?
You already say it was up there.
19,000 the
Yeah,
last time?
that's what I kind of remember was close
No,
to
I thought
20.
it was 10.
Yeah,
We
no.
could rent a lot of tents for that.
Don't
Outside
quote me
sounds
on
better
that.
and better.
Well, you have
Space
to
them
worry
out.
about the weather, Chris. That's not.
The weather is we used to do William Penn graduation on the field.
I remember.
It was beautiful, but boy, you want to talk
Until you
about,
had to work it.
you had to work it
Yeah.
because you got a lot of fence line, got a lot of parking lot.
Last graduation on the field was 2003. I remember it.
Yes. I can remember one graduation, being a student advisor, and, well, we don't want to talk about your son, but there was a different graduation that the principal, the kids and the board were facing the fans in the homestand. And the families, I was a student advisor at the time, and I was working the fence line, because that was before the handicap ramp was there, and it was like a mosh pit of people jammed in between the bleachers and the fence line, and you had to keep, back then you weren't allowed to stand on the fence line. So as you're working the event and you're looking at the field and the dignitaries up there, you can see a thunderstorm coming from the west. Gray you could see the principal could feel it, and you could feel his cadence picking up. Boom, boom, the names started going faster, 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 faster. Last diploma in hand. Thank you all, have a good night. Boom, everybody starts recessing. It just came rolling in. The kids got off the field, not all the way into the building, but it was bedlam, man. It was unbelievable.
And quite honestly, I can't remember any one of our graduation ceremonies we've had, even at the University of Delaware. We have not had rain.
Yeah, that one year we had to bring them in early because they were outside and that tornado watch came in and they all had to come in. That was, so yes, love tents, love the idea, but you have Mother Nature in June is unforgiving.
But it's being planned.
But it's being planned and looked at as an option because we want to put all things on the table. The last two items I just wanted to share briefly. I did go around and speak to every principal 2 weeks ago, prior to my call to you last week. I talked to every principal to ask them, how's things going? If we were going to tell the school board how things were going, what would you say? And it was impressive. They didn't know I was coming. I didn't tell them to be prepared ahead of time. And they all, in their own way, said the same thing. We got this. Like, what we're doing is working. Our kids are back. It's been 4 to 6 weeks. They're face-to-face. We're getting in a routine. Our virtual families are staying engaged. We're supporting them. Yes, there's bumps and bruises and ups and downs, but they, all of them, were like, we made the right decision to go 5 full days K-8 for families and students. They believe that the challenges that they face now have pushed staff to be incredibly professional and over the top, passionate and compassionate for families. They say that they are impressed with our staff, from our custodians, bus drivers, teachers, and paras, how they've put aside their own anxieties and fears to actually just double down and do the best they can for kids. Whether it's literally in one school I was in, a teacher of a virtual student who was face-to-face in the fall, but the family was uncomfortable with the child coming back after the break because of the way it was, the environment was in December and January. But the student doesn't really, has a hard time staying focused and awake in the virtual setting. The teacher was coming to the school to pick up a student desk to bring to the house so the kid could sit in a desk and they wouldn't be able to be comfortable and like sat down on the sofa. This is a teacher of the virtual student going to pick that up for the family. One example of people, our teachers and staff are going above and beyond to support students and families.
And we've had a couple of those reports. We have one a couple months ago.
Yep. The social emotional side of the virtual space, the school days start with virtual class meetings, highly effective and attended at the high school level, at Wallace Wallen. One of the highest engagement times of the day, according to Mr. White, is the SEL morning restorative circle. Students show up for that. And that's about connecting and supporting and being, expressive and vulnerable about what's going on. And then the school team reacts and responds. He said it's been powerful.
Athletics.
What?
Athletics.
Athletics, again, another great winter season. We looked at trying to bring athletics to the middle school. I think we're going to be sharing some information with our middle school families this coming week, because it's engagement. It's about keeping people and students connected. There is a different intensity to the day when you're in virtual and face-to-face, when it's 40%, 60%. But the intensity is around zeroing in on individual needs and trying to support them to the best of your ability using all the resources you have. One school at one point had 43 what they would classify as disengaged students. That school put together a team of 7 support folks and counselors and everything, and they just tackled the 43. It's now down to 10. It's all about investing resources to try to connect and support and meet the families where they are, both in the virtual setting and in the face-to-face setting. Again, the principals, can't say enough great things about the staff. Every single one of them. Our staff are impressive, and they just told story after story after story. I really would like to get the board to be able to get out into the schools in the next couple of months as we move forward. Hopefully, as the vaccine starts to hit, people start feeling comfortable. It might be doable where we could go out to a school, just the 2 of us, or two would just kind of walk around and take a look and talk to some folks, and people feel comfortable and it not kind of upsetting the apple cart too much. Because I think you would be impressed with what you see and hear real time, not me just sitting up here. For all you know, I could be making this up, right? I mean, let's face it, but I'm not. It's really happening. So, I mean, that's really it in a nutshell. I mean, it was really impressive that every single one of them talked about resilience, individual support, teachers going above and beyond, custodians going above and beyond, bus drivers going above and beyond, everybody just really all hands on deck. It really is impressive, including office staff, secretaries, you name it. And then, so any comments on that? Has anybody seen, heard anything to the contrary? Because we do get concerns, and we do it. That's the other thing. When we get a concern, we tackle it head on.
My grandchildren are very happy to be back. And they did very well, even with the virtual. We had to stay on top of them, but everything worked out.
Great. So the last thing, it's been a hot topic, I know for several of you, is the concern about students and staff social emotional well-being. And that is, again, part of our SEL curriculum at all grade, all levels, is around explicitly addressing how people are feeling and what we can do to help, and really stressing the importance of asking for help if you need it, and there's no shame in asking for help. One of the tools that we've recently activated in January that helps us monitor that virtual space where students spend a lot of time on district Chromebooks or on district servers accessing information is a program called Securely. And what this does is it helps us expands our electronic monitoring of what students and staff, or what students are doing on their computer. And it reports back to the Securely group, as you know, Leo.
Yes.
that your contact was prior to this
Yes.
happening. So previously, before January, the alerts were going to our technology department, who was then triaging the reports and trying to figure out what to do with them and who to send them to at the school level. And it was an ongoing process, and it worked.
It worked great. But
Well,
yeah,
now it goes directly to the company. The company, we pay for them to monitor, triage, and assess imminent threats real time. And we get instant notifications. And then the schools are notified instantly, and those parents are contacted immediately if their child is typing in something that's a concern. There's different tiers. Securely has I want to say a 1, 2, 3 tier, or a red, yellow, green. For us, it's all tiers are treated the same.
Good.
And so we have examples of a notification going to the district on a Friday, 10 o'clock. That communication within 30 minutes goes to the school. The principal on a Friday night, 10 o'clock, called that parent to talk about what was going on, to make sure that that child was safe, to let them know what services are available, and spent about 2 hours with that family, making sure that everything was good before they hung up the phone, so that that child was attended to and taken care of. There are many stories in that same vein where securely used to be just during the school day. That's how we monitored schools, like the stuff being done in the building. It's now 24/7 across the entire community for students who are using our devices and accessing our systems. It has been invaluable to support our families.
Is there any way to tie that into social media?
Social media is the bane of our existence, Mr. Lawrence. You know that, right?
Yeah.
It's the greatest thing in the world, but it's the
I don't like
bane of our existence. I don't think that's something that I'm ready to answer right now, but I do know that we do monitor social media space. Our principals are every school has a social media presence. They are aware of what's going on. We have a strategic marketing officer and a PIO who are in the social media space. We have had instances where our principals have seen things that their staff might have said that are concerning in terms of their well-being, and we've acted on those to try to support. We're constantly looking and making sure we're feeling all signals that come in, whether it's physical presence, conversations. We even have had teachers teaching Zoom classes who were sick and had COVID and were teaching, and they weren't getting help. And the staff who were watching the Zoom literally made them called an Uber, made them get picked up, and made sure they got to the hospital to get taken care of. Like, all hands are on deck, and everybody's health and well-being is a priority. So it's not just one program. Like, Securely is great for that one space, but it's all eyes and ears listening, and then knowing that there's somebody to turn to get the support, whether it's a counselor, whether it's a therapist, whether it's a psychologist, whether it's a principal, whether it's a teacher.
Good. We have to put our people and our kids first.
And, we do recognize the counter to that is that kind of hypervigilance takes a toll on you as a staff. So we're constantly assessing the mental well-being of our staff and making sure we're supporting them appropriately, because that's the concern. I mean, we need teachers, we need counselors, we need paraeducators, we need bus drivers in order to run. So we want to make sure that they're feeling supported, that they have the tools to navigate this space as well as the students. Any questions about, Robert, does that kind of answer the question?
That does answer.
Yeah, you had asked, you flat out asked me that 2 weeks ago, and I knew I was gonna. I tell you, it's a testament to our staff in all respects. I can't say enough good things about the staff in Colonial. And I know it sounds like a broken record, but we are only as good as every person on our team, and we definitely have staff dedicated and committed to students and families.
Well, it's refreshing that we have the staff that we do in the way that they care about their peers, the students, everyone else that's involved with the district. You hear all the horror stories are out there about other school districts, other states. all those type of things. I actually had somebody come up to me the other day and say, well, you experiencing the same thing? I looked at him, I laughed, I said, absolutely not.
Mhm.
I said, our people are right there with us 100%. Their number one concern is to get these kids back in school and get them educated.
This is
And they're doing everything that they can, all levels, all sections of our district and everything else are doing everything that they can to get these kids back in school.
This is defining several generations. And, you know, it's their Vietnam, I guess you'd say. So, very proud to see that the district.
I know I've talked to several of you last week and you all indicated, you know, when do you think we would be able to kind of peek our head in and see what's going on without being intrusive? And like I said, let's let the vaccine take its course here, let people get comfortable, and then start talking about that maybe April and May, what that opportunity is. You know, it's not, by no stretch is it perfect, and is everything just hunky-dory great? But we are doing the best possible we can with the equipment and tools that we have and the restrictions that we're under. I believe that in my heart. The principal said it. 5 days a week, full days, is making a difference. The virtual program that our teachers and our curriculum specialists spent months working on, starting this time last year for this coming school year, how they prioritized the standards, developed curricular materials that are accessible in the virtual space through multiple methods, and then developing a plan, a schedule to meet as PLCs to weekly check student progress and then modify those instructional plans and curriculum on the fly. That's not how it's normally done. It's usually you develop the curriculum and the pacing guide in June, and then you move forward, you just start working. Like it's really impressive. And again, it's work, and it's not clean. It's messy. It's hard. It's scary. But you know, I really believe that our staff are right there front and center. And they're not asking for, that's what they do. And again, we are fortunate. I really believe that. It's a testament to the board and your leadership over the years of believing in the teachers and in the staff that, you know, who are hired and trained and supporting the things that come in front of you for, it doesn't matter, as simple as approving a bus contract to, you know, when you approve curricular programs. Those are the things that are happening right now. It's all paying off. You know, it's unfortunate that it's one of those lifetime moments, Leo. They're Vietnam, so to speak.
It is.
But
Where were you back there on the big sea?
we're looking forward to the future. And so in the coming months, you'll be hearing a lot about our plans for 21-22. We have to get started now, and we're going to tackle it the same way. I don't know what it's going to look like, so don't quote me on it. And don't even ask me, because I'm going to try not to say, because it'll freak people out if I say something. We're getting ready for next year. That's it for me.
Any other questions for Dr. Menzer for his update?
I have a comment that I really want to commend the leadership from you that trickled down, and that's the reason that the staff and everybody has the ability to adapt by taking themselves out of the picture and putting the kids first. I think that's what makes Colonial. I don't want to speak on other school districts, but we prioritize the kids, and everybody took self out of this equation to make sure everything worked. I think that's why it's working.
I do think that there's a great deal of everything is cliche, but like it's part of who we are and what we do. And I think putting students first is probably a pretty simple way to approach it. So thank you, Mr. Handy, for recommending that.
I second that because from what Ted said.
I mean, I'm not going to guess. Like I didn't want to get. I went to each principal and asked the question, and I don't think they knew I was coming. I can't believe their network's that tight that they told each other I was coming. But you never know. I was a principal once. I know.
When we left the building, they were responsible.
Yeah. After the first principal, it was like,
They're listening right now, sure, laughing, I'm sure.
Thank you very much. I don't know if Ms. Falcon or anybody else or have anything to say. Ms. Fleetwood, if they have anything to say to add to that?
You summed it up very well.
And please, I'll speak on behalf of the board of this, but please extend our gratitude to all members of our staff, from the top all the way to the bottom, for what they've done for the children, the kids.
That's the plan.
As well as let's make sure that we get it out there for them. It's coming from the board as well, and we appreciate everything.
Understood.
Amen.
Understood.
All right, next order of business we have is Delaware School Board Association's update. Board of Directors, do we have anything?
Nothing, we're not gonna have another meeting until May.
Till May?
Yeah.
Okay. Legislative,
No meeting. We'll have one.
okay. You
Yeah, I do have a question as far as, I'd like to hear the board's opinions in regards to, I believe it's HB 92, if I'm wrong, please forgive me, but as far as changing the board terms from 5 to 4, we are being asked to reach out to the education committee members. And before I did that, I'd like to hear any of the other board members' opinions on it.
comments?
I'd like to remain at 5.
Were they also talking too about putting the time of the
Yes.
elections along with general elections?
That was proposed as well. That's not what this one is for, but that is being asked as well.
Who's the sponsor for this?
Representatives Bombach, Kim Williams, Senator Sturgeon, and Senator Secola.
It's being pushed heavily by the PTA. So,
PTA?
yes, to change the term.
Did they give any reasons why?
They feel that it's going to bring more attention to and more participation to wanting to run for school board if they lower the term. From what we've seen, as far as from what the legislative committee has proposed in saying in their research, they don't see anything. They've sent out, they said with the 20 elections that are going to, 20 open seats that will come up, 13 of them are contested as of now. 6 of the 7 that are going to be uncontested, 6 are currently incumbents. So they're not seeing any uptick. They don't believe that it will cause an uptick. I understand where they're coming from, but I don't know if changing the term limit would do anything, because if you can't fulfill your term, you can leave the position and there will be a special election, that next year. And the board can appoint somebody.
Also, a majority of board members serve numerous terms. In other words, the implication was 5 years is too long, but many of them serve 2 and 3 terms.
Sure. We have people here that have sort of
Yeah.
3 or 4 terms.
Another concern, what you addressed.
Bless her, Kathy Wilbur served 10 terms. She's over 40 years. So.
Yeah.
Another concern you addressed was bringing up the general election, but in the general election, you have to be a registered voter. For the school board election, anybody living in the districts that's over 18 can vote. So that would be a conflict in the process because you have to separate.
And I would agree to that. In addition to, I don't think we want to make it to where it becomes a political thing versus like they do the
They're
general
all subject
election.
to partisan.
It's political enough without getting involved with the elections.
So I'm sensing that the general census of the board here is to, everybody speak up if you don't agree with me, is leave it at 5 and keep it separate from the normal election.
I get why people want it shorter. I get it. I don't believe it will cause an uptick. And the other reason, it's a volunteer position that we're looking at. We come out of our own pocket if we do any type of campaigning for anything. I know we can raise funds for anything like that, but it's for something that is an unpaid volunteer position. I believe the 5 years, it is great.
There is a push. I've seen emails that came out today. I don't know if you got it. I think it went to all board members from John Iron. So that I would, if
That's exactly what I'm bringing up tonight.
If that's make sure that you follow up with that email.
The legislative committee came out against it.
Did they today?
Yeah. No, when we went.
Oh, when you went,
Yeah.
DSBA did,
Yeah.
but again, it's the more voices that can be spoken, the better.
This is a topic that's been out there for a few years now. It keeps get pushed down and hopefully it'll get pushed back down again. So,
And just to clarify, for the House bill that Chris is talking about does not have the change of date on it. That is a separate one. He is correct. It is
It's
separate.
House Bill 92, right?
This is House Bill 92.
Yes.
where do we, from the legislative committee, where do we stand on the piece of legislative, and apologize, I don't have the number in front of me, in regards to the requirements to be able to run for school board?
SB 78, I think.
SB 78?
That's SB 78. It's, I don't know where it is, but I saw it came out last Thursday.
Qualifications.
There's the one-
Hit the floor?
I don't know. I know it's out. It's no longer in draft.
It's not qualifications, Leo, it's things.
It's a background check.
Yeah.
Oh, I
one.
agree with
It's
that.
it's the background check one in the.
Are you talking about the one for removal?
Yeah, the
That's
one.
part of it, yes.
Part of it,
It's
yeah.
all, it's part of certain things that you have.
The background check wouldn't be implemented until next year after it passes.
Correct.
The debate is now if it is going, the cost of the background check, if it is going to be on the state or if it's going to be on the school district or the individual as well was a question for that one.
There's a couple pieces in that legislation that are concerning to me. If you're the board, it's your, definitely, but there's one part of that legislation that says that the board, that the superintendent can request that a board member get a background check if they suspect that they might be guilty of some kind of crime. I don't want any part of that. I work for you all. I don't want to be telling you.
You might
Let's
want
be
to
real
raise in a
clear.
couple of years.
You know what, Kennedy, you're nothing but trouble. So there's a lot to that one. So that SB 78, when it comes around, I strongly recommend you take a good look at it.
Chris, we can get an update on that, just let us know where it's at.
It's in the Senate Education Committee awaiting consideration.
It's in committee?
Correct.
Okay,
It's going to die there.
I don't think so.
I don't know. It's got a lot of names on it.
I do
I
not think it'll die.
Everything else.
There's,
I have a good feeling it's going to come out.
you know, I
many
think there's
pieces.
three or
Too many
four
pieces
strong,
in it.
Oh,
there's
there's
3 or 4 very strong points on that. Jeff and I were in a couple meetings in regards to that a while back. There's a lot of support for it. I think it has to be tweaked, certain things.
You're looking at support coming from, I think, from the legislative committee as well.
Right.
After the discussions, from the discussions that we felt, I think you're going to see support coming from them
Yep.
with it.
Could use some tweaks, though.
Yeah.
I never revealed those. So.
Just as another piece of information, the Senate Education Committee is scheduled to meet tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. and SB 78 is on the agenda. So anybody wishing to join that virtually, you
Can
have
you
the
s-
opportunity to speak.
Can you send out the
Yes.
link for that if we wanted to listen to it? What time is that? Emily, do you know? 10?
11:30 in the morning.
I'd like to listen to it too.
Well, and you know, John Marinucci will be, I'm sure, listening in on that. So if you have any questions, you can feel free to shoot him.
All right. Items removed from the consent agenda, we had none. Any items added or deleted from the agenda, we had none. Public comment,
We have none.
we have none. With that being said, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Remember, we'll